The wind moved softly across the cliffs, like it understood pain. The ocean below didn't roar like it usually did, whispered. And on that quiet edge of California where the trees bent from years of standing against storms, Ana de Armas stood still, arms wrapped around herself. The sunset melted across the horizon in streaks of orange and rose gold, but her eyes didn't follow it. They stared through it, as if searching for something the light couldn't give. Behind her, there was no camera crew, no makeup artist fixing strands of hair, no assistant waiting with schedules. It was the first time in weeks she had escaped. The noise. Not just the noise of people, but the noise inside her own chest. Sometimes, it wasn't silence she needed, it was stillness. Stillness was hard to find when the world kept asking you to smile even when your heart was tired. She had told no one where she was going. The set had wrapped an hour earlier. People assumed she went back to the trailer. She hadn't. She walked barefoot at first, then slipped on old sneakers, moving through winding paths only locals knew. This wasn't her first time here. Years ago, during her first movie in California, a driver had shown her the trail. She had forgotten his name, but not the view. Her breath came out slow. Her eyes blinked less. And though her phone buzzed in her jacket pocket, she didn't check it. It wasn't because she didn't care. It was because, if she looked at it, the spell would break. And she needed this moment to stay a little longer. Then she heard footsteps. They weren't fast or loud, just steady. Someone walking with care, not trying to scare her, but also not trying to hide. She didn't turn. Maybe it was a stranger, maybe a fan, maybe someone who would ruin the moment with a question, a picture, a comment about how tired she looked, but the steps stopped a few feet away. And then came the sound of someone sitting, not right beside her, not touching her space, just close enough to be felt. She finally turned her head. It was Keanu. He didn't say anything. His eyes met hers, and he gave a small nod. Then he looked out at the ocean, as if he had been watching it for years. He leaned forward a bit, elbows on knees, his breath calm like the wind itself had slowed down for him. Ana didn't speak either, because somehow, his silence said more than words could. There was no question in his eyes, no need to explain herself. No performance, no mask, just presence. And that made her chest tighten. The kind of tightness that comes right before a tear. The kind that comes when you've been strong for too long. She wanted to ask how he found her. But even that felt too loud. So instead, she sat down beside him. Keanu glanced at her again, then looked away, giving her space, even in his gaze. For a long time, they both just sat. No words, just the sound of waves brushing against the rocks below, the birds going home. The last colors of sunlight slowly giving way to soft indigo. After what felt like ours but was probably only 20 minutes, Sana finally spoke. Her voice was low, like she was scared the wind would steal it. "How did you know I was here?" Keanu didn't look at her. He just smiled, that quiet kind of smile only someone gentle can give. "I didn't," he said. "I just walked." She nodded slowly. Then she said something she hadn't planned to. "I almost walked away today." He looked at her then, eyes soft. From the set, she shook her head. From everything. His face didn't flinch. No shock, no pity, just deep listening. "I thought I was okay," she continued. "I really did, I thought. I just kept going, I'd outrun it." Keanu's voice came gently, but it caught up. She looked down at her hands. Yeah, the wind pulled at her hair again, and for a moment, she thought of her mother. How she used to braid Ana's hair in the mornings before school. How she'd whisper in Spanish, "You are made of light, not of burden." But lately, Ana felt more like shadow. "You ever feel like people only want your smile?" she asked Keanu. Tilted his head slightly. "Yes. And when you don't give it, they say you've changed." "Yes. But what if smiling is the lie?" Her voice cracked. He was quiet for a moment, then said, "Then silence becomes the truth." Her breath caught. He understood. It's not in the way some people pretend to understand. but in the way only. Someone who's been there can dot the silence between them wasn't empty now. It was filled with shared weight, the unspoken history. With stories neither of them needed to retell, Anna looked at him. Really looked. His hair was a little messy. His shirt was wrinkled. And he looked more peaceful than anyone she'd seen in weeks. "How do you do it?" she asked. "How do you carry so much and still look like that?" Keanu took a long breath. "I don't carry it all at once, just one day at a time. Some days, I drop things. Other days, I ask someone to help carry it." She looked back at the ocean. "I don't know if I can." He turned his body slightly toward her, not too much. Just enough that she felt the warmth of him in the cooling air. "You already are," he said. "You're still here?" For some reason, those words hit harder than anything else had in weeks. You're still here. Not you're doing great. Not you're strong. Just, you're still here. And that was enough. They sat there as the sun fully disappeared, and when darkness came, Keanu stood up first. He offered a hand. She hesitated, then took it. His grip wasn't tight, it wasn't pulling. It was steady. It's like a promise. As they walked back through the path, the moon started rising. Soft light behind the clouds. It's a kind of night where the world didn't demand anything. It just held you quiet and still. Anna didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But tonight, she didn't feel alone, and that was enough for now. The next morning came quietly. Anna woke in her trailer to the sound of birds tapping lightly on the roof. The sky outside was soft with morning clouds, the kind that promised neither rain nor sun, just stillness. She blinked a few times, unsure for a moment if the night before had been a dream. Had she really gone to that cliff? Had Keanu really been there? Her phone sat face down on the small table beside the bed. She reached for it slowly, not because she wanted to check messages, but because touching something real helped her feel grounded. There were 12 unread texts. Most were from the assistant director, one from the makeup team, one from Lucas the producer. Not a single one asked how she was feeling. Just call sheets, updates, deadlines. Anna put the phone back without replying. She stood, stretched her arms above her head, and walked barefoot across the trailer floor. She opened the door and stepped outside. The grass was still wet with dew. She breathed in the morning air and let it sit in her lungs. Her body felt lighter than yesterday, but her chest still held something tight. Not pain, not fear. Just the ache of being seen, maybe for the first time in too long. The memory of Keanu's voice echoed again. "You're still here." She didn't know why that it hit her so deeply. Maybe because so many people saw her as the one who had it all. The actress, the beauty, the star. But none of that held her when nights felt heavy. None of that walked quietly. Beside her, when she didn't want to talk, she made herself a cup of black tea and sat on the small step outside the trailer, letting the steam warm her hands. The set was already buzzing in the distance. She could hear crew members moving lights, someone shouting directions, the low rumble of generators. Her name would be called soon. She knew that. But for now, she just wanted to sit. A voice broke through the noise. Calm, low, morning. She turned her head. Keanu was walking up the path toward her, a thermos in one hand, a gentle smile on his face. He was wearing the same black hoodie from last night. His steps were slow, not tired, just unhurried. Like he respected the morning. Too much to rush it. "You okay?" he asked. She gave a small nod. "Better." He sat beside her without asking. Again, the silence between them wasn't awkward. It felt like a soft blanket on a cold, day-quiet comfort. She glanced at him, then asked, "Why did you come last night?" He sipped from his thermos before answering. "Because sometimes people don't need advice. They just need someone to sit with them." She looked down at her tea. "You knew I didn't want to talk. I didn't need to know why you were there. Just knew you shouldn't be alone." Her throat tightened. "Do you do this for everyone?" she asked. Keanu shook his head slowly. "No, just the ones who stop pretending." Anna gave a half laugh. Not a joyful one. It's a kind that's half truth and half exhaustion. "I think I stopped pretending last night, and that's the strongest thing you've done all week," he said. She looked at him. His face was calm. His eyes were warm, not romantic, not heavy, just kind. Keanu Reeves didn't push. That was the rarest thing in Hollywood. Most people wanted something, attention, answers, a story to tell others. But Keanu just sat. Anna sipped her tea again. It had gone lukewarm, but she didn't care. After a moment, she said, "My father used to take me to the water. In Cuba, we'd sit on the rocks and watch the boats. He never talked much either, just sat." Keanu listened without interrupting. "I think that's why I went to the cliffs. I missed being with someone who didn't need to fill the air, sometimes." "Silence is the only honest thing," Keanu said. She nodded slowly. A production assistant called her name in the distance. Scene in 15. Anna. She looked up, then turned back to Keanu. "You coming to set?" He smiled. "I'll walk with you." They stood together. The sun was climbing now, turning the clouds gold. Anna took one last breath of quiet before the noise returned, as they walked toward the set. She noticed something different in herself. She wasn't bracing for the day. She wasn't putting on the usual mask. She wasn't pretending. Not today. The scene they were filming was supposed to be emotional. A goodbye scene. The characters had shared a deep connection and were being forced to separate. The director wanted rawness. Truth. No tears unless they were real. Anna stood on her mark, waiting for the camera to roll. Keanu stood across from her. His eyes met hers. She didn't have to act. The weight she carried was already in her bones. The camera started. The world disappeared. "I'm sorry," her character whispered. Keanu's voice came steady. "Don't be. You gave me more than anyone ever did." Her eyes burned. Not from the script, not from performance, but from the truth inside her. And in that moment, she realized something strange. He wasn't acting either. When the director yelled cut, the crew burst into quiet applause. But Keanu didn't move. Gone, neither did she. They just looked at each other. The director walked up. That was perfect. Raw. Real. Ima blinked fast, breaking the connection. She gave a polite smile. "Thank you." Keanu stepped back, gave her space. Again, she walked off set slowly, her body still vibrating from the scene. She found her chair, sat down, stared at the ground. A shadow passed. It was Keanu. He left a folded note on the small table beside her. "See you at the cliff same time." No name, no signature. But her heart knew. That night she went again. This time, she brought 2 mugs. Keanu was already there when she arrived. Sitting just like before, legs stretched out, hands in his hoodie pocket. She didn't say anything, just handed him the mug. He took it, nodded in thanks. They watched the sunset again. But this time, when the colors changed, she didn't feel like breaking. She felt seen. After a long silence, Anna finally spoke. "I think I'm afraid." Keanu didn't look at her, just listened. "I'm afraid if I stop working, I'll disappear." His voice came soft. "Do you want to stop?" She paused. "Not forever, just long enough to breathe." "Then breathe," he said, "but they'll forget me." "Then let them. The ones who matter won't." She looked down. Her hands were shaking slightly. "I'm not good at stillness." "Then practice it." The wind brushed her cheek, and this time it didn't feel cold. Keanu looked at her. "You don't have to be strong tonight. Not here." And for the first time in a long time, Anna let herself cry. Quietly, slowly. Not the kind of cry that begs. For help, the kind that releases. And Keanu just sat beside her. No questions, no rush, just presence. Just like before. And for the second night in a row, Anna felt something she hadn't in years. Safe. Anna didn't go to the cliff the next night. She sat in her trailer instead. Legs folded under her, staring at the tea she made, but never drank. The silence inside was louder than it had been in days. Not because she was alone, but because this time she chose to be. And that choice felt heavier than she expected. Her phone buzzed. A simple message. "No rush. The cliff's still there. So am I." She didn't need a name to know who sent it. She didn't reply. But she smiled gently, as if her heart had just been given space to breathe. The truth was, she wasn't avoiding the cliff. She was afraid of needing it too much, of needing him too much. Keanu had a way of being still, and in that stillness, she felt safe. But feeling safe also meant letting down her guard. Letting down her guard meant facing the things she'd locked away for years. She stood up slowly and walked to the mirror. Her reflection didn't look tired. It looked honest. Her face bare of makeup showed everything, the shadows under her eyes, the slight red in the corners from crying, the quiet in her expression that no longer hid behind a fake smile. And somehow, she didn't hate what she saw. The next morning, the director pulled her aside after the first scene. He was a fast-talking man from New York, always pacing, always demanding. But today, he was different, slower, watching her with a strange softness. "You're different this week," he said. "You're more... real." Anna didn't know how to respond, so she waited. He tilted his head. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." She nodded, gave a polite thank you, and walked away. Keanu was sitting in a chair near the monitors, sipping something warm from his thermos. He didn't look at her, not right away. He was watching the crew, the extras, the clouds forming in the distance. Like always, he was present, but not intrusive. When she walked past him, she stopped. "You didn't ask why I didn't show up last night," she said. Keanu looked up slowly, his eyes gentle. "I don't need reasons to respect your space." Shh. Felt the words settle into her skin, but I wanted to. He smiled. "I know." Then he went back to sipping his tea, and she stood there a moment longer, letting the warmth of his presence calm her heartbeat. That afternoon, they filmed a quiet scene by the water. Their characters weren't speaking, just sitting on a bench near a lake, both looking out at the horizon. The script had no lines, just a moment of connection. As the camera rolled, Anna didn't act. She just breathed. And for those few minutes, it was as if the world had slowed down. The crew didn't make noise. No one shouted. No one adjusted lights. It felt real when the director called cut. No one moved right away. Even the crew seemed unsure if they had witnessed a scene or something true. Keanu stood first and stretched slightly. Then he reached a hand toward Anat to lift her, but just to say, "I'm here." She didn't take the hand, but she nodded at it. That was enough. Later that evening, as she walked back to her trailer, she heard footsteps behind her, not rushed, not loud. "You want to talk?" Keanu asked. Anna turned slowly. "Yes," she said, "but not about me." Keanu raised an eyebrow. "Then, about what?" She looked at him carefully. "About you." He paused, as if weighing something invisible, then nodded. They walked together down the narrow trail toward the cliff. The sun was lower now, not quite setting, but thinking about it. They sat. The ocean was louder tonight, waves crashing harder. The sky above them, full of clouds that turned golden at the edges. Anna waited. She didn't push. After a few minutes, Keanu spoke. "When I was younger, I used to run from silence." She looked at him. "Why?" she asked. "Because it made me feel alone." He glanced at the ocean, but later I realized silence wasn't empty. It was full of answers. Didn't want to hear. Anna breathed deeply. "Like what?" Keanu's voice was calm, steady. "Like how much I still miss my sister. How much I blamed myself for things I couldn't control. How much I longed to be held without having to earn it." Anna felt something crack in her chest. "You don't talk about her much, do you?" she asked. He shook his head, not because it hurts too much, but because silence honors her more than words do. Anna nodded slowly. They sat without speaking for several long minutes. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in soft oranges and dusty blues. "Can I ask you something?" Anna finally whispered. "Of course." "You ever ... been in love with someone you couldn't have?" Keanu didn't flinch, didn't blink. He answered softly. "Yes." "What did you do?" He took a slow breath. "I stayed close, not to win them, not to change their mind. Just ... to protect them from a distance. Because love doesn't always ask for a return, Anna swallowed, her throat tight. That sounds ... painful. Keanu looked at her. Not as painful as pretending I didn't care. Her eyes dropped to the edge of the cliff. The rocks below were sharp, strong, unmoved. I think I might be falling, she said. Keanu didn't ask for details, didn't interrupt, and I don't know if I want to stop it. He let the words sit between them. You don't have to make a decision tonight, he said. Anna looked at him. How? Are you always so calm? He smiled gently. I'm not. I just breathe through the storms. She laughed quietly. What if I don't know how to do that? He turned his body slightly toward her. His voice came low. Then let me teach you. As they walked back under the growing darkness, Anna brushed against him by accident. Neither of them pulled away. The silence between them wasn't heavy anymore. It was shared. And for the first time since arriving on set, Anna didn't feel like she was acting, on screen or off. She felt real, and real, she was learning, was more than enough. The storm came without warning, not the kind with thunder and lightning, not the kind the sky screams out loud. This storm was quieter, colder, it crept in like fog. And it started with a phone call Anna never expected. It was her agent, the voice. On the other side was sharp. Not angry, just business, Anna. There's something you should know. She listened, and with every word her chest tightened. Her heart didn't race, it sank. A photo had leaked. A long lens shot. Her and Keanu at the cliff, sitting close, her hand holding a mug, his face turned toward her like he saw her. No touch, no kiss, no scandal. Just two people being human, but that didn't matter. The headlines made up the rest. Anna and Keanu's secret romance revealed. Off-screen chemistry heating up the set inside their late-night meets. Anna stood frozen in her trailer, phone still pressed to her ear. Her agent was still talking. You need to be careful. People are watching now. Every move will be analyzed. This could affect contracts, promotions, everything. Oh. They're going to spin this. Anna's voice came. Out small, but we weren't doing anything wrong. The agent sighed. I know. But the world doesn't care about truth. It cares about stories. Anna hung up, not out of rudeness, but because her hands were shaking. She sat on the edge of the small couch, her elbows on her knees, staring at the floor. How quickly peace could be stolen. How fast silence could be turned into noise. Keanu knocked softly on the trailer door minutes later. He didn't wait for her to answer. He just opened it slowly and stepped inside. His face showed nothing but calm. You saw it? She asked. He nodded. How bad is it? Her voice cracked. He sat beside her, not touching, just close. Depends, he said. On what you believe about yourself. She looked at him, confused. If you believe the headlines, it's bad. If you believe in who you are, it's just noise. Her throat tightened again. But it's everywhere, she whispered. My family will see it. My mother. People back home. Keanu nodded. I know. They'll think. Then tell them the truth, he said gently, and let the rest go. Anna leaned forward, head in her hands. I didn't ask for this. Keanu's voice came soft. No one ever asks for storms. But sometimes. Storms clear paths we couldn't see before. She didn't answer. Not because she disagreed, but because the weight inside her felt too heavy to lift. He didn't try to fix it, didn't try to lighten the mood, just stayed. And for now, that was all she needed. They didn't go to the cliff that night not because they didn't want to, but because a van full of paparazzi had followed one of the crew members home. And rumors were spreading across every gossip blog like wildfire. Anna stayed in her trailer with the lights off. She watched the sunset through a small crack in the window blinds. It was the first one she had watched without Keanu beside her since it all began. And it hurt, not because she was alone, but because she missed the quiet. The space between their words. The safety of being unseen. Her phone buzzed. A message. If I could steal you peace right now, I would. But since I can't, I'm giving you this. A second message followed. It was a photo. The cliff, empty, untouched. the ocean in the background. The same view they'd shared, but this time captured from behind a stone far from where a camera could reach. Beneath it, he had written, "Even without us there, the stillness waits." Anna closed her eyes. For the first time that day, she felt something real again. Hope. The next morning, the director changed the schedule. All scenes involving her and Keanu were moved. He claimed it was to protect the project from distraction. But everyone knew what that really meant. Anna didn't argue, Keanu didn't either, but something shifted on set. Not between them and the world. The kindness they shared in silence is now being dissected by strangers. Anna overheard. To makeup assistants whispering behind the trailer, they say she cried in his arms. I heard they've been sneaking out together for weeks. He's old enough to be her. She walked away before the rest reached her ears. Keanu found her behind the set an hour later, sitting on an old wooden crate, arms folded, face toward the ground. He didn't say anything, just sat beside her, same as always. After a long silence, she finally asked, "How do you not break?" His answer came slowly, "Because I already have." Many times she turned to him. He continued, "But each time I did, something grew in the cracks." Anna wiped her face. "I feel like I'm cracking now." He nodded gently. "Then let yourself." But what if I fall apart?" Keanu looked at her with eyes that had seen grief, loss, and stillness. "Then I'll be here, beside you like always." That night, they didn't go to the cliff. They didn't need to. Anna invited Keanu into her trailer. Not for romance, not for comfort, but for presence. They sat across from each other on the floor, legs crossed like children at story time. She lit a candle, just one, and the flame flickered softly between them. She looked at him through the glow. "I don't think this is just about the headlines," she said. Keanu waited. "I think it's about being seen." He tilted his head. "When you sat with me on that cliff," she said, "I felt like someone saw me without asking me to perform." He nodded. "I did, and it scared me." His voice dropped low. "Why? Because if someone sees the real me, then they also have the power to walk away." Keanu didn't flinch. "Then let them," he said softly. "The ones who matter won't." The candle flickered higher for a moment, and calmed again. Anna leaned back against the wall, tired but lighter. "Thank you," she whispered. Keanu didn't answer. He just stayed. As always, when he left that night, she walked him to the door. He paused before stepping out. "If this ends tomorrow," he said, "if the project shuts down, or they write more lies, or they try to turn you into something you're not, just remember one thing." He looked up at him. "What?" she asked. Keanu's single quotes. His voice was calm, kind, steady. "You don't have to earn love. Not from me, not from the world." Her chest felt tight again, but this time it was the kind of tightness that comes with healing. Slow, quiet, honest. The wind felt different now. Anna stood on the cliff alone. For the first time since the photo had leaked, she returned here by herself. No cameras, no crew, no Keanu. She had waited until sunset, waited until the golden light poured over the rocks. Again, like it used to before, everything changed. Before people turned her quiet moments into headlines, before the world made her question something so simple. Was it really okay to be seen? Her hands were in her jacket pockets. Her hair was tied back, but the breeze still pulled loose strands across her cheek. Her heart was beating slower than it had in days, not because she was calmed, because she was clear. The stillness welcomed her again. It didn't ask why she'd been gone. It didn't blame her for staying away. It just held her like it always had. She sat down in the exact spot she used. The stone was still warm from the day. She stared out at the ocean, eyes soft, breathing steady. She whispered to no one, "I missed you," and maybe the cliff heard her. Maybe the ocean did too. But in her chest, something softened. Something forgave her. A few minutes passed, then footsteps. She didn't need to turn around. She knew them now. The pace, the patience. The way they always stopped a few feet away, offering space instead of taking it. Keanu sat beside her without a word. They stayed like that for several minutes. Then she asked, "You followed me?" His voice was gentle. "I never stopped." She smiled. "I needed to come alone this time," she said. "I know, but I'm glad you're here anyway. So am I." The sky was darker now. Clouds floating slow above the water, reflecting. Soft streaks of lavender and peach. Anna took a deep breath. "I'm not afraid of being seen anymore," she said. Keanu looked at her eyes, calm. "What changed?" "You didn't." He tilted his head. "What do you mean?" She turned toward him. "You saw me when I was breaking. You didn't flinch. You didn't walk away. You didn't try to fix me or cover it up." Keanu's voice dropped low. "I saw you because you let me." Her throat tightened, but she didn't cry. Not tonight. Tonight wasn't about pain. It was about presence. "I kept thinking people wanted me for the perfect version of me," she said. "The one with makeup. The one who smiles and says all the right things." "They don't," Keanu said. "They just think they do." Anna's eyes met his. "And what about you?" He paused. "I don't want perfect. I want real." Back at the ocean then, said something she hadn't planned. "Do you think this?" She gestured between them. "Can survive the noise?" Keanu didn't answer right away. The wind brushed past them again, gentle and slow. "It's not the noise that breaks things," he finally said. "It's the fear of it." Anna nodded slowly. "I've spent years afraid." "Then maybe it's time to stop," he said softly. "How?" "By choosing." She looked at him. "Choosing what?" Keanu's eyes were steady, choosing each other. The next day on set, things felt different. Not because the rumors stopped. They hadn't. Not because the attention went away. It didn't. But because Anna didn't flinch anymore. She walked onto set with her shoulders relaxed, her smile genuine. It's not because she had to, but because she wanted. Two, she greeted the crew with warmth. She laughed between takes. She even wore her hair natural that day, letting the wind move it the way it wanted. And when Keanu joined her for a scene, they didn't act. They just existed side by side. The scene was a reunion between their characters, a quiet meeting after time apart. No big speeches, no dramatic tears. It's just a soft moment of recognition. The director gave only one note. "Make it honest." Anna nodded. And when the cameras rolled, she didn't think of the script. She thought of the cliffs, of the tea, the candlelight in the trailer, of the text that said "the stillness waits," of the night she cried without shame. She looked into Keanu's eyes and saw the same man who sat beside her without asking why. And in that moment, everything else disappeared. Cut, silence. The crew stared. The director whispered to his assistant. "That's the shot." Later that evening, the producer pulled Anna aside. "We're getting a lot of press," he said. "More than expected." She waited for the warning. He didn't give one. "But honestly," he said, "people are falling in love with your truth." She blinked. Double quotes, "What?" "You're not hiding anymore," he said. "And audiences are connecting with that." Anna didn't answer. Because for the first time, she didn't need someone's approval to feel whole. That night, they returned to the cliff again. Not out of habit, but out of choice. They sat together. Like always. But this time, something was different. Anna reached over and took Keanu's hand. Not for comfort. Not because she was sad. But because she wanted to. Keanu looked down at their hands, then up at her. She smiled. "I'm not running anymore." He nodded. "Then let's walk forward." The sky turned deep purple. The stars began to show, one by one. And under that soft, quiet sky, nothing was certain. Nothing was promised. But what they had, what they chose, was something stronger than noise. It was stillness. And stillness, when shared, was enough. Days passed, then weeks. The shoot neared its end. The script pages grew fewer. Early mornings and late nights started to slow. Around the set, you could feel it, that quiet sadness that comes when something meaningful is about to finish. Anna stood in front of the mirror in the small trailer that had become her second home. Her reflection didn't just look different. No, it felt different. There were still shadows under her eyes, still quiet in her face, but behind that quiet, there was strength. A calm, steady kind that didn't need to shout to be heard outside. The crew packed up for the final day of filming. The last scene was a farewell. Her character and Keanu's would part ways, no promise to meet again, no dramatic goodbye. Just two people walking in different directions, with something left. Unspoken between them, but behind the cameras. Nothing was unspoken anymore. Anna stepped outside. The sun was still low, casting soft morning gold across the hills. The kind of light that touches everything gently, like it's saying goodbye to Keanu, was already there, leaning against the railing, sipping tea from his worn thermos. She walked up beside him. "Ready for the last one?" he asked. She nodded. "Feels strange. Endings usually do." She looked out across the set, then back at him. "Thank you," she said quietly. Keanu's single quote's eyes met hers. "For what? For not trying to fix me. For letting me fall apart. For staying." He gave the smallest smile. "We never fell apart. You unfolded." Anna blinked. That word ... unfolded, like something that had always been beautiful, just hidden under too many layers. They were called to set, and as they walked toward it, Anna felt something different inside her chest. Not fear, not doubt, just peace. The final scene was simple. No dialogue, just a slow walk down two sides of a road. They'd pass each other. Their eyes would meet, then they'd continue walking, no turning back. As they waited for the cameras to roll, the director gave his final note. "Look like you're saying everything." Without saying anything, Anna nodded once. The cameras began. She walked, so did Keanu. They approached, slow, steady. The wind moved through the trees, brushing past them like memory. As they passed, their eyes met, and in that one look, Anna didn't have to act. She just was. They didn't smile. They didn't cry, but the moment was alive. A quiet goodbye filled with everything they never said, and then they kept walking away. Cut silence, then applause. Not just from the director, but from the whole crew, not loud, not forced. Just soft claps from people who felt something. Anna turned back, so did Keanu. They met halfway. Off-dash camera, he opened his arms. She stepped into them. No spotlight, no script. Just two people, holding a moment that would never be printed in any magazine. Later, that night, after the wrap party ended and the laughter faded into the dark, Anna didn't go home. She didn't go to the hotel, either. She went to the cliff. This time, she brought nothing. No tea, no blanket. No phone, just herself. The stars were clearer than ever. The ocean below shimmered like black glass under moonlight, and then soft footsteps. She didn't turn. "Thought you might come," she said. Keanu sat beside her. "I almost didn't," he replied. "Why not?" He looked at her, quiet. "Because I didn't want to hold you back." She turned to him. "You never did. I never tried to hold you forward either." "You didn't have to," she said. "You stood beside me. That's all I needed." Exhaled slowly, like those words had given him something he didn't know he was waiting for. "I'm leaving tomorrow," Anna said. "Where to?" "Nowhere. Just away. Time off. Real time." He nodded. "Double quotes you? Staying in town?" "Visit a few places. The cliff, right, now and then." She looked at the ocean again. "I don't know what this is," she said. "I don't know what we are." "Me neither." "Does that scare you?" Keanu shook his head. "Not everything needs a name to be real." She smiled. "Will you miss?" "Me. I'll miss the silence we share." Anna leaned her head gently on his shoulder. They sat like that for a long time. Then she stood. He did too. The goodbye didn't need words. It was written in the way their eyes held a little longer than usual, in the way their hands brushed but didn't cling, in the way they both looked back once more, not at each other but at the cliff that it held. So much between them. She walked away first. He watched her disappear down the path, and when she was gone, he sat again, alone, but not lonely. Because some stories don't end with kisses or confessions. Some stories end with presence, with knowing you've changed someone. They've changed you. That's enough. Anna didn't cry as she drove. She smiled, soft, quiet, because the stillness that once scared her now lived inside her. And Keanu, he never stopped sitting beside it, even when she wasn't there.